There are three concepts which I want you to reflect on. One concept is called economic growth. And you know when something has grown because it changes from one state to another, and that change always reflects an increase. So when we talk about economic growth, all we're saying is that a change has taken place in the economy over a specified period of time. Nowadays we say in a financial year, that the amount of output with which we started at the beginning of the year has increased by the time we got to the end of it, so we say that growth has taken place. That's economic growth. That is something you can measure over a specified period of time. If you start at 6, and by the end you end at 12, you know that you had an increase of 6. Then there's the concept of economic development. Economic development is a much broader concept than economic growth, because development and growth mean completely different things. All growth does not necessarily involve development. You can have an economy growing, but no development is taking place because the quality of life of people affected in the society is not changing for the better. But when development takes place, development not only asks the question how much, but it also asks the question for whose benefit and of what sort. So you can even have a situation where no growth is taking place, but development is still happening, because the measures you are introducing are changing the quality of life of people in the society. Let me give you an example. You hear all this talk about the economy of Barbados not good. But growth is very scarce across the world. We are in no better position or no worse position than the United Kingdom, which own all the countries in the English-speaking Caribbean, which used to own the United States of America and Canada, which used to own New Zealand, and which used to own colonies all across Africa. And the same predicament in which we find ourselves tonight, that former colonial power finds itself in as well. We are in a position no worse, and in fact a position that is better than Spain, which has upwards of 24% unemployment, and 40% of its people of school age or out of university are unemployed. Spain used to own the whole of Latin America, except Brazil. All those Latin American countries and Central American countries that speak Spanish, Spain used to own them. And tonight Barbados is better positioned and more strongly positioned than Spain in terms of unemployment figures. Portugal used to own the largest country in Latin America, Brazil, and had colonies all across Africa. Tonight, Barbados is in a stronger position economically and socially than Portugal. France has been earmarked for downgrade by the rating agencies. France used to own countries in the Caribbean, certainly owned Haiti, still owns Martinique and Guadeloupe, and had colonies all across Africa. And France is in a predicament not dissimilar to that which we are going through here in Little Barbados. These were superpowers. These were superpowers. The United States of America is a superpower. And that country still has about 16 million people unemployed. and still has upwards of 40 million people on food stamps. And that is the largest economy in the world, and the wealthiest country in the world. You heard Paul Volcker say that at the Central Bank last Monday night. So when we are told that the Barbados economy is not growing and it should be growing and so on, those are the realities out there in the world. But even though the Barbados economy has not been registering the kind of growth that we would need in this very bad downturn, changes are taking place in the economy at the level of the kind of restructuring that was needed long ago when things were going much better. And I want to just zero in on the issue of energy. How many of you in here tonight know that it takes 10,000 barrels of oil per day for the turnover of the Barbados economy? 10,000 barrels per day. Of that 10,000, we produce 900 barrels of oil per day. Out of 10,000 barrels we need per day, we produce 900 barrels per day. So the rest has to be imported. We spend as much money on the importation of oil as we spend on education. We spend as much money importing oil as we spend on education. Can that situation be allowed to continue? So the government has taken a position that is a bottleneck that has to be removed. It can't be removed overnight, but we have to start the process. That is why we've been talking not just about solar water heating, which we've been doing since the 1970s, but we are now talking about renewable energy, taking advantage of the sunshine at our disposal and using that sunshine to generate energy that will make us stronger and put us in a position where we don't have to rely on the importation of as much oil as we do now. And of course we also have wind energy, to which we will get as well. But that is an area that the government is tackling. So, growth may not be taking place, but if you are trying to effect those kinds of changes in an economy to make it more efficient and to free up the monies we spend on oil imports to spend on people, economic development is taking place. And that is what we are about. Not just growth, but development, economic development. And economic development is only one kind of development. The third concept to which I want to introduce you, I've told you about economic growth, I've told you about economic development. The third concept is development by itself, the word development by itself, minus the word economic. And the word development by itself now ministers to the total being of people in this society. That's what we mean when we say that Barbados is not just an economy. It is a society. Let me tell you something. We were saying that down here, and we got criticized for it. Of course, we don't get criticized for it now. But just in case you don't know, it It is being said in the United States now.
Yep.
It is being said in the United States now that there are not just an economy, but that there are a society as well, and that there are other needs that have to be met apart from economic needs. That is why the Minister of Social Care, eager to ensure that there is no let up on the pursuit of development of the total person in Barbados, has on the drawing board now removing the concept of welfare from the thought processes of Barbadians. We're going to rechristen the welfare department in such a way that people no longer feel humiliated by having to access those government services. Let's be very frank, nobody in this room wants it to be said of them that they are welfare. That is an impediment to people accessing services. And the people who work in the welfare department, as well as the people who try to access those services, are affected by that nomenclature, that system of naming. It used to happen when we had almshouses in Barbados. Nobody here would have wanted to send a grandfather or a grandmother or a father or mother to the almshouse. But you don't mind sending them to the district hospital alone. The buildings are the same place, but the renaming has created a different kind of image that allows the accessing of that service to be more palatable. So the concept of development, the concept of not just being an economy, but ministering to the psychological and social and other needs of the people of Barbados is what this government is about.